Thank you for your support of Indie Agency News. Let's meet an indie agency. We're going coast to coast today. Our friends John and Mike from Supernatural. Gentlemen, hello.
Hello.
Let's pop up the titles there. So John is the co-founder and CEO of Supernatural. Mike, co-founder and CSO, Supernatural. Let's start with this. And we're going to go into a few different areas here, but I'd like you to give me a little background of when the agency was founded. And I mentioned that you're in New York, John, and Mike is in San Francisco, but you've got some people peppered around. So tell me about when the agency was founded and location.
Sure. We were founded 2 years ago, June of 2021, sort of trailing pandemic time frame. Started with some of us located in New York, as you said, me and Paul Coates, our creative partner, Mike based in San Francisco. We do a lot of back and forth, but and do have people peppered around. So we've been around for 2 years and off to a fast start.
Yeah. And both of you come from, like a lot of people in the indie agency world, you come from holding company pedigree. Talk to me a little bit about your path thus far.
Sure, I can start, and then Mike, you can fill in with your path. But I have a creative agency background, worked for independents on the East Coast, then came out to work at Goodby, obviously owned by Omnicom, was there for 10 years, started my own independent agency from there, 2005, called Heat, along with Steve Stone, creative partner, and ended up selling that to Deloitte. So ended up working for a large, not a holding company, but a large consulting firm. Did that for 5.5 years before starting Supernatural 2 years ago.
Bringing it back. Mike, how about you?
Yeah, my background is in all kinds of strategy. I started at holding company agencies. I worked at IPG in media, worked at Universal McCann, and was on the strategy team there. Left there to join Heat, tricked Elder into hiring me. And we've been working together ever since. And so I went with him over to Deloitte, where I was a principal at Deloitte for 5.5 years, and then John and I met up with Paul last summer, 2 summers ago, and started Supernatural.
I love it. Now, you're early; it's still early days.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say the agency is best known for?
Without any question, it's our focus on artificial intelligence and using artificial intelligence and practical applied ways to get really outstanding results for our clients.
And that's an interesting point, because listen, AI swirl, right? But it seems as though that you have found a way to make it seem, number one, a little less daunting. To your point, Mike, much more practical. So explain how that manifests in the way that you approach the work, and specifically how you approach brands and explaining what the agency does best.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the easiest way to describe what we do is that we use artificial intelligence the same way, a contractor who's putting an addition on your house would use power tools. We are focused on doing a thing, whether it's making a campaign or executing some sort of segmentation study or doing some sort of strategy project. We're not focused on the tool that we're using. We're focused on the outcome that we're going for. And so when we're building our platform and when we're evaluating what features that we want to put on the roadmap, we're always doing so within the context of what's the actual thing we're trying to do, rather than what is the sort of AI technology science project that we're engaged in right now.
Mm-hmm. What I love is that you call it the machine. You just call it the machine. Like, how simple is that?
Well, we have recently named it Merlin because...
No, I like the machine.
All right. It is a wizard that travels backwards through time. So,
okay.
And I do think, Doug, as you said, there is a lot of swirl about AI right now, which is a bit different than 2 years ago when we started. People were like, wait, AI, what are you doing? And I think the premise was just really trying to, make the process easier for the people who create advertising, the clients who buy advertising, and make it more relevant for the consumers who have to view it. It's become a kind of a painful process, and we're just trying to automate the painful parts, make it faster, a bit more precise. Mike's power tool analogy is apt. You can use hand tools, you can use power tools. Both take quite a bit of crafts from craftspeople, but with power tools, you can get the job done faster and you can get it a little bit tighter.
But there's still the human component to it that is really important. And I mean, that part of it is never going to go away. And I think that's one of the concerns about AI is the existential threat to it. But this simply is what agencies have strived, not stroven, that's actually not a word, but agencies over the years have strived to be efficient and effective, but it hasn't necessarily had a definition, but that human component to it is still very valuable.
Yeah, no doubt. Humans are still way better at AIs than doing things like exercising judgment, making choices, evaluating the fit between a particular idea and an audience. They're way better than that, than AIs at that. AIs are better than humans at doing things like grinding through a bunch of different options, never forgetting to, as they're going through a decision-making process, never forgetting all the options that are on the table, things like that. And so what we really try to do is let the AIs do what the AIs are good at, let the humans do what the humans are good at, and then make sure that we never have AIs operating without human hands on the keyboard or at the wheel, metaphorically speaking.
Right. John,
we've learned from other industries, that in use case after use case, from radiology to chess, AIs and humans perform better than either AIs alone or humans alone. So we think it could be an enhancement for the talented people that we work with.
Yeah, makes total sense. Let's go to why you love being an indie. Why is being an indie important to you as leaders, but also to your team?
I'll start.
Go ahead, Mike.
Control freak. You get to wake up and it's like at the end of the day, you decide what you're going to work on. I mean, like everyone, you've got clients, you've got stakeholders, you've got folks, but you control your own destiny as an indie far more than you do in any other context.
Yeah.
And it was a conscious decision when we started this. We had left Deloitte. There was some interest in, people making investments, and we decided to really be independent, bootstrap this, because we knew we could move faster if we didn't have to, be reporting to other people. And, in 2 years, we built a platform that is incredibly useful, delivering great results, and we filed a patent for it. And I'm not sure we would have been able to do that at that speed any other way.
Trust me, I completely understand about bootstrapping. as we build this shameless plug indie agency news. Let's go to, again, I think that there's, what's interesting here is that there is a level of practicality that I think is important. As a practical matter, what's the main reason a brand should work with you? So as a practical matter, but also the fact that we are in an emotive space and emotion matters in advertising. What's the main reason a brand should work with Supernatural?
So I'll start, and then John, you can jump in. We deliver the results that an agency truly 10 times our size can deliver. We can deliver analysis, we can deliver strategy, we can deliver creativity that an agency, truly 10 times our size would be able to deliver. We can do it faster, we can do it more accurately because of the way we're leaning into what we believe is the future of not just advertising, but of all professional services, which is artificial intelligence. We have a really nuanced understanding of how all the different AI platforms work. We understand the pros and cons. We get what's good about them, what's bad about them, where they're strong, where they're weak. And we can really help clients navigate from, getting done what they need to get done. So creating marketing and advertising that delivers results while helping them navigate through the world of artificial intelligence and all of the optionality that's coming out of that for clients.
Right. John.
I would just add to that it's, for clients for whom data-driven decision-making is important, we have, an enormous amount of data and fidelity to how we help clients arrive at their decisions. And then when you couple that with provocative creative that is more relevant and gets attention in market, and it really comes down to results. Although I say, like, there are a lot of agencies that can do a really good job, it also comes down to chemistry. And we are, fun people to work with. We're great with the keeping things on time, on budget, and delivering kind of what clients need.
We love blue shirts.
You love
blue shirts are really important.
We love blue
agency uniform.
Oh my God.
It may not surprise you to know that we both wore pink shirts yesterday.
I was just going to say, it's like 1988 called. I didn't get the memo. I was
so good in the 80s, Doug.
Oh my God, we all were. And the early 90s. Oh my God.
Early 90s, yeah.
Mike's not old enough to remember that.
No, he was just a child.
No, I know. Absolutely. Let's move this. John, I want to start with you on this one. Let's move over to talent. Why should talent be putting Supernatural on their list?
Well, I think if you're curious about the future and people who are not afraid to try things in an effort to, improve the way people work, the quality of work they can do, and the results they deliver for clients, we would be a good choice for talent to consider.
Yeah. Mike, what do you have to add to that? Because you have the view from the CSO desk.
The biggest mistake that people make in their careers is putting themselves in a position where they're not learning. It's the single biggest preventable mistake that I see over and over again. You will always be learning working with us.
Yeah. Well, and it's an interesting point because you're, a couple of years into this, you've seen some success. I'm sure there's been a few detours along the way as we all go through. And I would have to believe that talent coming up would see it, you've been able to really codify and explain very succinctly, which is not an easy task, what the proposition is, where you're going with all of this. On the flip side of it, the talent that you currently have right now, what are you learning from them? Because Mike, you had mentioned the learning component of it is really important. What are you learning from the talent that's in the door now?
There's a couple of different things that, I learn every day. One is just, I'm consistently surprised by how the folks who work at Supernatural figure out ways to use our tools to do what they do a little better and a little faster. So we're always learning ways to get better and get smarter. And it's really, it's surprising stuff.
Right.
Some of it's like incredibly cool. I posted something on LinkedIn the other day, like Johan, one of our, who's one of our designers and an art director, he did this little experiment where he took the same prompt that he had put into Midjourney a year ago, and he put it in with some updated stuff now.
Oh, wow.
Showed the difference between the two images. It's just like interesting stuff like that gives you like a perspective on how things are really changing. So, that's one thing. And then the other thing that I'm always learning from the folks who work with us is just how important it is for people to feel like they're part of a company that's doing something other than just being in the business that they're in. So we are doing something other than just making advertising. We're trying to make advertising a little better for the people who work in it, a little better for the people who watch it, and a little better for the clients who buy it. And it's just that kind of stuff, and just knowing that it's not just, okay, we need to crank out a bunch of campaigns. We're actually trying to make our little corner of the business world a little better than where we found it.
Right.
That's important to people, and I'm constantly reminded of it by them.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I want to move on to this last question. It's a little bit of a thought experiment. John, I want you to start on this one. You have your current clients, but let's be honest, there are brands and there are people out there that you would love to work with. I have my list. I'm sure you have a little list as well. This is a little bit of a marketer shout out. Which CMO or marketer would you like to say hello to? Just a little wave.
I think, the CMO of Netflix would be interesting. I think Netflix has done some really provocative, interesting advertising. They obviously have access to an enormous amount of data. And I feel like if you leverage kind of who you're looking to, what audience you're looking to grow with, and then attaching that to some really provocative, interesting creative, that would be something we could do really well together.
Yeah. Mike, I've stalled for you.
No, it's okay.
I put John on the spot.
I mean, it's a tough one. I think like Tar Hassan over at McDonald's, who I started working with at Leo Burnett back in the day, back when Burnett was still an independent agency. He's doing some really incredible stuff over there. Shout out to Tar.
Yeah. All right. I like that. Well, John, Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Best wishes for continued success. Mike, I will see you in the Bay Area. John, I'll see you in New York at some point.
Let's hang out, Doug.
I'll get out there. But thanks for joining us. And yeah, keep on keeping on and keep educating us.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.